Oh, man, this is really living.
All and nothing stop us, not even a train, plane, tractor, all of us as we feel the rhythm inside the marrow of our bones, and we're fascinated by the music sounds and headphones.
Free box beats brings me a relevant speech. Like two girls were matching, going to a fashion pageant, asking for some passionate actions.
We want to educate people on how these are all the things that we can find in river.
PCs and apples, I snap two to slap you. They're act cool, natural, quite attached to getting rich and getting some chicks and maybe a fan. I'll tell you what I think. Even if society isn't behind me or the community isn't in unison, open your ears and your mind.
We're committed to the art and nothing can stop us, not even a train, plane, tractor. Marrow of our bones, and we're fascinated by the music sounds and headphones. My flow is vicious, stacked like dirty dishes, swim in schools like fishes. I mix my beats delicious, talent and soul is what we give it.
Oh, man, this is really living.
He said it. Let your mentals wander, just ponder, sit back and relax and don't squander all them seconds that be passing you by. My heart's still beating till the day that I die, and I come to grips with the fact of one thing: be proud of the stuff that makes you wanna sing. 'Cause if you don't, you might get bitter. I've been called lots of things, but not a quitter.
This one, okay, the DO level. So we give it a crack. Water quality, we want to verify the site, so we just have to do it.
With nature. Half of the world's population lives in cities, and a lot of people in KL live in apartments and things, so they don't get a chance to experience nature and just learn how to garden, which is a life skill. And so if you don't bond with nature, if you don't enjoy plants, you don't enjoy being outside, how are you going to save the world from the climate crisis? So here we want you to bond with nature. Our nursery is very small. It's just this little corner piece of land. We do a lot of good work here. Since we started 5 years ago, we've given away over 29,000 plants, and all of that work has been done by volunteers. Yep. So that's how we can give everything away for free. It's also slave labor. So while you are here working, you are learning gardening skills, and we also walk you through, we'll teach you about environmental awareness and different environmental solutions that you can practice at home. Okay, so I'll take you for a small tour, and if you have any questions, please do ask, but follow me. Garden still out of extinction. Only this one is caused breeding change and last percent, and that includes mammals and insects and already. So we can be thinking about the environment. How can we, in our home, the environment, and give everything a chance? From the smallest thing to the biggest thing, how can you support the environment? So they relate to gardening, they relate to environmental solutions, and environmental stewardship. You can go take a photo of it, hashtag it, spread the word, build this at the little first cat. As it breaks down, it will turn into soil or compost. So from this into soil in 3 months. It's quite rapid. The compost that you get from here is so rich that 1/2 inch is all the fertilizer that your plants need for a 6-month growing. But how do you compost it? Okay. It's actually a chemical reaction between carbon and nitrogen. There's actually a little bit of carbon in this. So if you think of it in terms of handfuls, it's about 3 handfuls of this to 1 of this. It shows 30 to 1, yeah? You keep it wet. And I'm really lazy at home. I do static pile. What we do here at the nursery is vanilla. If we were to chop it up into smaller pieces, it would decompose even faster. You live in an apartment, you can still practice anaerobic composting. There is no excuse to not be able to.
I have learned is protect the environment is very important. Like today, our activity is learn how to gardening and planting the plants. So plants can provide produce oxygen. So this is quite important to our environment.
The trees, and also we learn on how to plant the trees in different ways.
About it in the bag, this goes here. So nice and high up the bag so that there is a lot of space for roots to grow. You don't put it all the way down here and or in the middle, and so just about there, and your soil level is exactly here. If you put your soil level too low, your roots are exposed, your plant's gonna fall over, it's gonna die. You put your soil level too high, your stalk's gonna rot, your plant's also gonna die. So exactly where the color change happens. So for this plant with lots of root, put a little bit of soil in, put your roots in, hold the plant together so you don't get soil inside of it. Hold the plant at the height that you want it to be, and carefully fill up around it, okay? Hold and place it nicely in the middle of the bag, because if you give people ugly plants, they also don't want it even if it's free. So you gotta still make sure that it's quite pretty. Okay, and then if it's too low, you can bring it up again a little bit and top up again. Yeah, just make sure that you get it right. And that is transplanting. Okay, one more thing that you have to learn: planting seeds. How do you plant a seed? A full stop. These little ones here, okay? Right, how do you plant them? There's 5 seeds there. Can you see them? You can't even see them. Okay. The general rule: plant your seed as deep as the seed is big. You got a seed this big. This one you generally plant sideways. I would plant it this deep. You got a seed this big, plant it this deep under. You got a seed that's like sand, scatter it on the top, don't even cover it. You cover it, it will never grow through the soil. Okay? Right. So these dates we will plant in this tray. So what you do is you fill it up, lay all your seeds out, and then cover it with about ½ a centimeter of soil. Okay? This particular date palm is susceptible to rot. It grows in the desert. It means that your soil has to be more free draining. So add it in here, add some more rice husk so it doesn't get too wet and rot. And then you can plant the date palm seeds in here. I'll get some more containers for these guys.
Series are all about environment protecting. So through this experience, we went to 4 places and we found that human pollution is serious. So I have learned that we should stop polluting the environment.
Protect environment is very important. Besides that, I learned about teamwork. During the community service, we cooperate with each other and help each other.
Not just saying, but take action. Everyone has the responsibility to take care of the environment.
One bag of soil, and this is our compost. So our compost from the bins there that we took out the other day is super black, super rich, but it's also very heavy. Yeah. And if you just use compost on its own, it's too dense, it gets waterlogged and the roots can't actually grow. So us adding this means we know that we are adding a good dose of fertilizer to the soil that we bought, and it's also alive. It's got creepy crawlies, it's got, you know, we put some microorganisms and things in there, so we know this is a lovely healthy soil, and soil actually does need to be alive to grow well.
Does the microorganisms helps it to get more richer?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, all the enzymes and things. You think about your gut, and you know all the bacteria that's in your gut. All of that needs to be alive and thriving. Or same goes for soil. Now this is rice husk. Rice husk is byproduct of the paddy industry. So we know that this is a sustainable resource. They're always going to have a lot of rice husk. It's dry. It's made of, it's like cellulose. I dug up a plant pot that had rice husk in it, and 2 years later it still looked like this. It hadn't broken down. So it takes a long time to decompose. But what it does is it makes the compost a little bit lighter, so that when the roots want to grow, there's pockets of air, there's pockets of dry, the soil isn't going to get waterlogged. A lot of plants, if the soil is waterlogged, they won't actually, the roots will die. But as you get to be good gardeners, you'll realize different plants like different conditions. So example, the water plants and cacti, complete extremes, right? So what we do next is we mix it up like cake mix. So get all the way to the bottom, make sure the rice husk and the soil and the compost are So cuttings should be less than a foot long. Some plants prefer tip cuttings, some plants prefer woody cuttings, but that's just a matter of experimentation. As you become better gardeners, you'll realize which ones are which. Anything that with thick waxy leaves like this is actually very easy to propagate, so the chances of failure are quite high. So 1 foot from the top, that's about here, yeah? So a flat bottom cut close to the leaf node, right? This portion that's going to go in the soil, we don't need the leaves. This cutting has got no roots, so it's going to struggle to stay alive. We want to minimize the work that it has to do at this point, because what we want it to do is be a new plant and not stay green and leafy at this point. So we want it, priority is to stay alive. So we minimize the amount of work that it has to do at this point. Yeah? You can even be so mean as to get the big leaves and chop them. Okay? This is a good cutting. Some plants remove all leaves. But then again, that's just a matter of learning which is which. So all we have to do for this cutting now is to fill the bag up with our lovely rich soil. And what we do at this point is we drop the bag. So that's just compacted it and made the soil quite good from a cutting. So I just cut it from the garden. This will be a new plant ready to give away in about 2 months. So quite rapid. Now, most plants follow the same pattern. And if you think that most plants follow the same pattern, you do the same technique, you're going to have a higher chance of success. Okay? I need to... You can see that the roots are growing from the leaf node. Yeah? Pass it around so everyone can see. So most plants, the roots will grow from a leaf node. Not all, but most. So if I were to cut this plant here above the leaf node, this portion of stem is going to rot. When things rot, they introduce an element of disease. So to minimize that, what I will do is I do a flat bottom cut close to the leaf node so that the plant can quickly heal itself and grow the roots. Yeah? So cuttings should be less than a foot long. Some plants prefer tip cuttings, some plants prefer woody cuttings, but that's just a matter of experimentation. As you become better gardeners, you'll realize which ones are which. Anything that with thick waxy point, because what we want it to do is be a new plant and not stay green and leafy at this point. So we want it, priority is to stay alive. So we minimize the amount of work that it has to do at this point. Yeah? You can even be so mean as to get the big leaves and chop them. Okay? This is a good cutting. Some plants remove all leaves. But then again, that's just a matter of learning which is which. So all we have to do for this cutting now is to fill the bag up with our lovely rich soil. Okay, and what we do at this point is we drop the bag. So that's just compacted it and made the soil quite dense, and we try and get 2 leaf nodes into the soil, and that is all we need to do. Notice I didn't compact the soil. If you compact it and push it down, you make it hard like a pancake, then the roots aren't going to grow. So you want it to be nice and light. Later when we water it, it will compact naturally. How do you water this properly? 3 times. So you give enough water to run all the way through the bag, then you do it again, and then you do it one more time, and then you know that the water has absorbed all the way into the middle. You know the soil is wet, then you just leave it alone, because at this point it has no roots. So this one's a bit more defined. Okay, so you can see that one. That one's got a bit of a better root. Right, so what you want to do is you want to maintain it. The soil level goes exactly where that color change happens. Right? If you put your soil level too high up, your plant's just going to rot. So all you would do is just gently poke that in.
Community service also helped me to gain and improve my skills such as selflessness, teamwork, responsibility, leadership skill, time management skill, and problem solving skill.
So because of this community service,
We get to know more about
the environmental project,
and how they really work together.
The simple step is start to use recycle bag.
Do not use the plastic bag and plastic straw.
Let's go green!
we all know that we need to do something to decrease the pollution of the environment.
it's time for change.
Save the environment and you will save the life and future. Small changes can make a big difference.
If you can't reuse it, refuse it.
Stopping pollution is best solution.
Small resolution can have a big impact on the planet.